of you media moguls are out there. All right, day 7. Let's go to the Killboard.
Yeah.
The Killboard is an intelligence terminology or a military term for all of the data of the combat operations. So right now, in terms of the human cost of this campaign, right now, Iran's International Committee of the Red Crescent, which has been relatively accurate, now says that there are between 1,230 citizens dead, which include, of course, Revolutionary Guardsmen. And why do we think that? I'm sorry, and 300, 1,000 or 1,332. That's the highest figure that we have from the IRCR, right? Why do we think that that's accurate? Because in the Muslim world, if you're killed, they have 24 hours to get your body straight into your grave. There is no waiting around, taking days for autopsies, having wakes. There's no Irish wakes there. No, you must be cleaned, processed, and then documented, and then you have your funeral. The only thing that I've seen in terms of a delay of that was we're going to talk about that bombing in southern Iran that killed what is now estimated to be over 100 school kids. We're going to talk about the validity of that because I am now convinced that's real. I kept my mouth shut for about 3 days. I'm starting to see other intelligence that you would never do if you were faking this. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And I've been asked about that from the producers at CNN, right? Do you think that this is real? We in the West have a tendency when there's a mass casualty event that we have inflicted upon people to say that it's fake and that it didn't happen. And I'll tell you something straight up. Right after October 7th, massacres, I went to Israel. I went to all the kibbutzim where people were massacred, and I saw what was happening. I may have been a little skeptical of some of the numbers, but I wasn't skeptical that people were being killed in droves on the Palestinian side because it's just a confined battle space, and the kind of ordnance that's flying is there, and you have to think. I'm not saying asked that question. Emma, I didn't think that it was not real. I said I was reserving my opinion for this open forum until I got more data, right? Because you could show a video of a building with smoke coming out of it, and there have been fake incidents where countries have faked them for propaganda. But now we're seeing way too much stuff, from kids wrapped in shrouds. Yeah, could you fake that? Yes. But, now that it's out of the public eye, there's no need to hide 100 graves that are being dug with a backhoe. Only in that village, only near that spot. And if you're going to fake that, you're going to have to fake the funerals. You're going to have to fake the parent. It's too hard. Most propaganda, you just say it, you let it ride into social media, and then you finish. So I think that incident, I'm gaining high confidence that incident happened. Also, the United States is carrying out an investigation, and they're starting to say that it wasn't the Israelis, it was them. So the way that you do that is you check the GPS data number that was going in because it was near, I believe, Bandar Abbas naval base area. And you check the aircraft that had that bomb, that had that GPS. A real investigation would take about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So we'll find out. Back to the Killboard. So Iran, unfortunately, has lost 1,230 through 332 casualties killed. We don't have a wounded count. If it's 1,000 killed, you're probably looking at about 8 to 10,000 wounded. This includes military members. We all know that submarine was sank. That submarine went down with over 100 men on board, and 86 bodies have been recovered. We can confirm that. And that's why you have these big jumps in the numbers. Yesterday, it was 1,032. Israel still is counting for 12 dead. The Americans, of course, the United States has 6 dead. Other Gulf states are accounting for 10 dead. Let me see. The U.S. says, and Israel claims that they did 1,300 strikes on 636 targets thus far. In terms of allied systems that have been lost in the last day. As yes, you know, yesterday we talked about the $2 billion of air defense radars that $40,000 of drones destroyed. One was in the United Arab Emirates, the TPY ballistic missile radar that was part of the THAAD, Theater High Altitude Air Defense System, and the tactical ballistic missile in silo ground system that the Emiratis have. And then the one SPY land-based spy one radar system of the Aegis ballistic missile detection system that we keep on our warships. This one was on the ground, destroyed by a $20,000 drone. Direct hit, both of those systems. I've seen the imagery now. Confirmed kills. So there's $2.5 billion just up in smoke. Shows you the power of drones. Central Command is reporting now that 91%, there is a 91% drop in ballistic missile launches, which is good. But whether that is because the inventory has been depleted or destroyed, or whether Iran is executing a long-term strategy of harassment, I don't know. 83% reduction in drone launches. Well, if that's the case, what do you say, Jake?
Yeah, it could also be a mix. One doesn't exclude the other. It can be both forced drops, but also tactical considerations or strategic considerations on the part of the Iranians. Probably a mix, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a mix. I mean, we knew Iran started this war last Saturday, 7 days ago, with 80,000 drones. Let's say 50% of them have been blown up in warehouses, bunkers, tunnels, complexes. That still leaves you with 40,000 drones. According to the count, they've only fired about 1,500 drones. They didn't fire the numbers that they fired during the 12-day war, which was, I think there were 1,000 a day fired, which were getting intercepted and shot down by airplanes. This is much more focused. We are going to talk about some of the specials we're going to do. We're going to do a drone special for paid subscribers only, unfortunately. We'll later on do a written Substack for people who are just free subscribers. But the drone systems they have are starting to prove far more effective than the regular Shahed 136s they have been firing in the past. And there's a whole myriad of them. We're going to talk about some of the hits. Speaking of drones, Allied systems lost. The United States has now confirmed they have lost 3 MQ-9 Reaper drones. At least 2 are confirmed to have been shot down over Iran. There was a report the other day of an F-15 being shot down. They showed a video of Iranians going, yay, Allahu Akbar. I immediately was skeptical of that. I said, that looks like a Reaper. The Yemenis, the Houthis I think they've shot down like 13 Reaper drones. So they know how to do it, but the Americans are operating at medium altitude, and anti-aircraft guns, anti-aircraft missiles that still exist are shooting them down. But that's the job of a drone, to get shot down so that a reconnaissance aircraft doesn't. Next, Iran on its side, the small the small container ship that they put up with a bunch of containers and laid a flat deck on it and a little ski slope that they called a drone aircraft carrier was finally sunk by the U.S. Navy after 5 days. This was an IRGC platform. It was not really serious. It was really a propaganda platform. And they did launch drones from it, but they left it at anchor. Every ship that has been sunk except one has been in port, anchored down, tied to the pier, sitting out in the harbor, no crews on them. Okay, these guys knew the Iranian Navy was the number 3 priority, something we had been wanting to do since 1988 after I helped savage the Iranian Navy, which was get rid of all of their developments in the last 40 some odd years. And we did.
And the actual ship that was sunk at sea was how many nautical miles from the zone of conflict, from the Gulf?
2,000.
2,000. Okay, yeah. Nautical
2,000.
miles.
But they had been shadowed from the very beginning of this war. And but we'll talk about that a little bit later too under combat status. So right now, ballistic missiles down 91%, drones down 83%. But the ones that are being shot seem to be making hits. In Israel, yesterday took 2 ballistic missiles, no casualties, but one of them was a Kaarsbo 4 long-range ballistic missile with a cluster bomb warhead in it. The missile goes up into space, it comes down, and as it's about to be intercepted, it breaks apart. 80 cluster munitions that are basketball size come down, and they're very hard to intercept each one of those. They're a real casualty. It's meant to design to kill civilians who are outside. So that's it in terms of losses. We talked about the Iranian warship that was the supply ship that was escorting the Iranian frigate Derna has been taken into custody in Trincomalee. It is now detained as it's a detained vessel, and its crew has now been taken off the ship, and it's being operated in Trincomalee by the Sri Lankan Navy. So that ship survived. Lucky them. This is what the frigate should have done. It should not have proceeded towards the Indian Ocean. Next, the places where drones are getting through. Ali Salam Air Base in Kuwait City. It's northwest of Kuwait City. Very big air base. I was on it for a while during Desert Storm. It is also part of the U.S. Air Force's supports bases in the Gulf. It was hit with a drone that blew up. There is a fuel bladder field, which are these giant rubber containerized bladders like a camelback that are filled with fuel, and they're generally put onto trucks and moved around for short duration. Or if you have high intensity combat and you don't want to put everything inside a giant underground or above ground fuel storage container, you put them in these bladders, and specialty fuels and other things like that can be moved around quickly. They took a direct hit yesterday. The video shows that base. That whole fuel field is on fire. The Iranians got a good lick in with that, right? So that was one of the big hits. Another drone was seen over Bahrain, a Shahed 107. It looks like the Ukrainian Beaver. It looks like a torpedo with very long wings out of it. That was seen in Bahrain. They're not sure what it hit. We talked about the Bahrainian oil petroleum companies. Pumping stations and refinery in Bahrain got hit with 2 Shahed drones yesterday. We talked about that yesterday. Let me see. What else is going on? We talked about the Kaarsbo. U.S. campaign is continuing. Israel, again, got just 2 missiles yesterday. Ali Salam Air Base got hit. But the joint U.S.-Israel attack, no mistake anymore, the United States Air Forces, and Israel's armed forces, we are operating as one team now. It is an allied campaign. So anybody that says that this is the U.S.-Iran war, you're literally discounting this. Israel and the United States are working in pure harmony. And they admit it. The United States admits it. The Israelis admit it. People need to understand we are not the only ones bombing Iran. But the United States hit Tehran last night with what journalists from Iran say is the heaviest night of bombardment of this war. And the reason for that is once air defense is degraded, we can fly in bombers like the B-52, the B-1 bomber, or the B-2 bomber. We generally wouldn't use that one, but the B-52 and the B-1 can come near Tehran, not over it, and launch up to 80 of what we would call dumb bombs, right? These old Mark 82 bombs with a joint defense and munitions capability on it. Those bombs will drop gravity, and then little wings will spring from them, and the bomb's wings will steer that giant 2,000-pound or 1,000-pound bomb directly to a target. And the B-1 and B-52 will already be turning back, going and imagining what kind of donuts they're going to get out at the Dunkin' Donuts, out of wherever they're flying in England or out of Guam or wherever. Oh, I'm sorry, not Guam, Diego Garcia. So that's why these things are there. We call them bomb trucks for a reason. These things, a B-1 can carry 80 500-pound bombs, right? Or 40, 42,000-pound bombs. I mean, the B-52 up to this point has been carrying air-launched cruise missiles, and they've been using them. But now, as they can penetrate over that airspace or get near that airspace along the coast, they start dropping dumb bombs. And this is what Whiskey Pete Hegseth, the secretary of dudes, was saying. We have unlimited munitions. Yeah, regular dumb bombs. We have stockpiles that go back to Vietnam and Korea that were never expended during the Vietnam War. So, Jake, what do you say?
Yeah, it's a bit like the Russians digging all those stuff out of the holes to continue the war in Ukraine, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
there's some of the high end stuff that's troublesome, and that's quite clear.
Okay. All right. The United States has localized air superiority over Iran. We do not have air supremacy. Localized superiority means when all of our fighter jets come up, and we start flying combat air patrols, we can do it because we know there's nothing down there, right? So we have localized supremacy. Now, you still got to be aware the Iranians have the ability to move stuff around in trucks in the middle of the night. And despite it's not like Iraq in Desert Storm, where we used a system called J-Stars that was a radar that could literally track the movement of every vehicle on every highway in Iraq and computerize, keep tracking as they moved. Iraq, I've been over all the major highways in Iraq. They're flat, straight roads, straight down, north to south, straight east to west, easy to track, right? Iran is 80 some odd, 85% mountains. So you will disappear. Your radar, no matter how good your side look radar is, it cannot track everything everywhere. How do you tell a guy that is moving a truck full of goats from a truck that is moving 4 containerized drones or cruise missiles? The Iranians deliberately made every truck in that country a white box truck, right? Disguised for
Yeah,
this very reason. Because they knew
yeah.
someday the Americans would be hunting these things, that the Israelis would be hunting these things. And with our localized superiority, we can do that. We sit over it, fly what we call bomb caps, right? Bombardment combat air patrols, and just wait, strike cap. And then you see a truck, somebody gives you good intelligence, and you look at it on your infrared with your giant camera. And if somebody says go, you will drop that bomb. Now, not until the truck is blown up will you know if it's goats or missiles, right? And the the Predator drones carrying Hellflyers fly at a much lower altitude, much more powerful camera, and they were tracking trucks coming out of IRGC headquarters. This is what we mean by localized superiority. Supremacy means that airspace is as secure as the United States, right? Nothing's coming up to bite us. Nothing. The problem is we can't guarantee that. The country is very, very big.
And the big problem when you watch, like that was overnight as well, Pete Hegseth's briefings,
Yeah.
is that, he's just, strutting the stuff and talking. And there's no humility about this whole operation. And that's the first thing that should be a warning sign. Maybe he can convince some MAGA lunatics that he's right, but everyone with just a little bit of insight into operations like this knows that this is not this is just bullshit.
Yeah.
So that's the big problem. That's the
The
big
only
problem.
The only thing he is missing in his role as a male cheerleader is that big megaphone, right? And the
Yeah,
words, "Yay, war," on the
yeah,
side. That's
yeah,
the only thing that's missing.
yeah,
This guy reminds me of one of those, cheesy 1930s Andy Rooney male cheerleaders.
yeah.
Just ridiculous. Okay, that being said, there are some other things that are happening there. There's an interesting campaign that the Iranians have been carrying out. Airlines are starting to move out, but only for evacuation flights in and out of Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Dubai moved out 30,000 passengers yesterday, but they were all one way out.
Yeah.
They flew to Toronto, they flew to London, they flew to JFK. And interestingly enough, there were a couple of flights were only half full. A lot of people are not
Mhm.
leaving.
And some
Many,
of them were turned back. There were a couple of flights going in from Europe, from I believe France and Britain,
Mhm.
and were turned back because there were new sirens due to
Yeah.
the drone threat.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah. And you know why they turned those planes around? The problem isn't the drone threat. The problem is Gulf states air defense operators may think you are a hostile and shoot you
yeah,
down.
yeah,
That's why civilian airliner airspaces are closed when there's an actual attack. But the reason I mention that is over the last 4 days, the Iranians have been carrying out what we call GPS spoofing. Spoofing is when you hijack a signal and you make it look like something, you move it or you make it look like something else. In this case, the Russians are excellent at this. The Iranians have a Russian system. It will spoof, it will jam the signals coming from the GPS satellite and project another signal that your aircraft, if you are on GPS guidance, will follow. And I saw one yesterday. It was an air tracker, which showed the aircraft come down, then go up, come down, go over, go up, come down. Somebody had like programmed a literal heartbeat rhythm, and the aircraft did it, followed it until the pilots took manual control of it.
yeah,
So there was another incident where they were doing this for ships, for the very large crude carriers, and these ships were being redirected to Kashem Island, which is the
yeah.
big shark looking island in the Arabian Gulf. If you use something that is automatically controlled by GPS, spoofing will screw it up. And the reason the Iranians do that is not just to screw with you, but GPS guided weapon systems. We had a big problem with this in Ukraine when I was on the
Yeah.
Kharkiv battlefront. They learned to spoof the GPS on the HIMARS missile systems, on the multiple rocket launch systems. Now we put in a new package where they can't do that anymore, but they can do it. I actually one day on my mobile phone, the GPS told me to turn left towards Russia, and it gave us a destination which was not in Kharkiv, but which was in Volgograd, the Russian city on the other side of the border. People have been fooled by this. So
Yeah,
they're doing this against aircraft and ship in the Gulf. Very interesting
yeah,
asymmetric use of
yeah,
this. I want to talk about that too. Um, Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia yesterday engaged and shot down three intermediate range ballistic missiles. That is just outside the city of Riyadh. I mean, this is deep in there. No other interceptors got it. They had to get it in the terminal phase. But it shows that Iran's now using some of its relatively short range ballistic missiles, the ones that can't hit Israel, but can
yeah.
definitely hit all the Saudis and other Arabs. That's
The
that.
same type they gave a few to Russia, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Early
their
on, and there
Jiran
were a
too.
couple, yeah, a couple of years ago. I bet you they're missing those now.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Well, Russia's now manufacturing Iranian drones, but
Yeah, drones, but
that
they also gave them short-range ballistic
oh, the
missiles.
ballistic missiles that they sold to
Yeah,
Russia. Yeah. Well, if the manufacturing headquarters, I mean, I can't believe the Iranians will say, we will never be touched. Let's keep all the manufacturing in this one building. I bet you every used car garage, every place is now under contract, start building drones and missile launchers on the backs of Toyota Land Cruisers or something. The French are sending the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier to Cyprus to be part of the anti-ballistic missile defenses for Cyprus. We mentioned this yesterday. RAF, Royal Air Force Base Akrotiri, which I've been to bunches of times, was hit with a drone that flew from Iran or Iraq. And that drone went right through the wall and may have damaged or destroyed a TR-1/U-2 spy plane that is operated by the 9th Strategic Reconnaissance Wing at RAF Akrotiri. There's photo identification that they did damage the hangar. And those drones go through that paper-thin wall and blow up inside. So if there was a U-2/TR-1 inside there, it's gotten damaged or destroyed. We don't know. The U.S. will never talk about that until there's videos of them bringing the plane out in pieces, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Charles de Gaulle was just 25 kilometers from my house only a week ago.
Yeah, it was. It was in Malmo, Sweden.
Malmo, Sweden, and just came by 8 kilometers from here. So on the coast.
Yeah.
And it's come down. And what I've also seen, the French have started sending Rafales on patrol above the Emirates. Probably that's also to facilitate evacuations, etc., to
help
to
cover their
protect.
base.
And I just saw the Brits are sending in, I believe, tornadoes to help the Bahrainis on their air defense.
No, typhoons.
Typhoons, right?
Yeah, they retired the tornadoes.
Yeah.
The Bahrainis, of all the Gulf states, the Bahrainis really need help. They're they've been doing ballistic missile interceptions, but they're not getting the drones.
No, exactly.
So, on the Iranian side yesterday, they put out warnings to people about coming out into the areas where there are blast zones. The IRGC is exerting street-level control now. We discussed this 2 days ago, that you cannot do regime change so long as there are guys holding rifles, drinking tea, and eating dates at the cafe, and they control every intersection in a country of 93 million people. You can blow up all the headquarters and police stations that you want, but you can't get rid of the, a million guys with rifles. And you're not going to, if this is supposed to stoke a rebellion, you should have stoked it in January when the country was in rebellion. Yeah. But now it's like, hey, rise up and let those guys kill you. I always use the conservative estimate of 10,000. The number has been as high as 30 to 50,000 dead. So these people are cowed. And and another cultural issue is, do you really want to be rising up for the Israelis? I've lived in the Muslim world my whole life. There's some things the average Joe tea seller on the street won't do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the unfortunate thing is, there are a few signs that this could actually help preserve the Iranian regime.
Mm-hmm.
So have the opposite effect of what's intended.
Oh, jeez, that's all we need, right? All right. Let's go shift to, we've done military, we've done intelligence. Let's shift to diplomatic and economic. And we will always now have a special segment on the Kurds. Yo.
Yeah. And on the Kurds, on the military side, also, we are continuing to see the Iranians hit the Kurdish areas.
Yeah.
Precisely because, and only 12 minutes ago, it's reported by Al Jazeera Live that they're launching new ballistic missile attacks against the Kurdish area.
Yes,
and it's to avoid this chance that
Put that in your Kurd quiver, because we have an entire segment on the Kurds. And you're right, those Fatah 360 missiles are hitting the sites. Okay, let's go to diplomatic now, because fun things are happening on the diplomatic economic side. Starting with economics, the Financial Times reported that the Gulf state exports could stop 100% in a matter of weeks if they do not get the the Strait of Hormuz reopened. Right now, the only lifeline that's going on is called the Habshan Fujairah oil pipeline that the Emiratis built about a decade ago for this very reason, right? Which is to bring another line of oil across the United Arab Emirates, because United Arab Emirates is on a peninsula like this, and they built a pipeline like that from the south to the northeast. Fujairah is a massive oil transshipment port in the Indian Ocean south of the Strait of Hormuz. And if you go there at any given day and look out on the water, there's like 100 oil tankers there. Well, the Habshan.
And I'll just show our viewers where it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can be the map guru.
Here. You know, you have the Strait of Hormuz here, and it's on that side of the actual.
Can you raise that up a bit?
Sorry.
There you go. Point to it again.
Looking at the map and into the screen at the same time is difficult, but it's up here. So on the
other side, the western side,
the western side of the actual strait, just above Oman.
Yep. So that's a cheat that the Emiratis built in for just this reason. In case the Strait of Hormuz was ever closed, they could still pump oil over. The Iranians have struck the oil storage tanks at Fujairah. They did not cause a mass conflagration. They only destroyed a couple of things. That was 2 days ago. The oil is now flowing to Habshan, and some of the premium buyers, the South Koreans and the Indians those ships are going and picking up those loads and hauling ass straight out of there, because there is no threat once you're out of that port, right? You gotta head south, turn your AIS identifier off so the Iranians don't know where you are, and head towards India, and you're good to go. But the Financial Times is openly reporting Gulf states leaders are saying, hey, this cannot go on weeks. The entire world economy could suffer an energy collapse if it does. Yes.
Yeah. And the actual source is a Qatari minister. I believe it's the Minister of Finance that was the one giving the statement to the Financial Times. So it's not just some average Joe.
And when these guys talk, it is coordinated. It means they are speaking for the sheikh, or they are allowed to speak for a coalition, right? And they let one guy be the bad guy, right? Or to speak in that respect. So this is bad. This is bad. And they said, the phrase was the world energy pipeline, right? As oil and natural gas come out of the Gulf, and the Saudis are trying to pump it to Jeddah across very small pipelines that are open to being attacked, the world's energy pipeline could close in a couple of weeks. They said 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Not good. And don't forget, 20% of the world's liquid natural gas, all right, is coming out of there. Whoa. And if you haven't heard what we said about South Korea, go see if you can find the short where we talk about the impact to South Korean microchips, mobile phones, and AI chips. They said within 10 days or a few, 10 days-ish, the entire supply chain of those chips could stop worldwide, because it's coming mainly out of Korea. And they said it would take weeks or months to restart it. Every chip in the system that is not complete would be destroyed if they lost power. Crazy. Let me see. Hey, you'll be happy to know that the Strait of Hormuz was open for one big ship that got through, a very large gas carrier carrying Iranian gas.
Fuck.
But it came from Qatar area. So it picked up a load that was on contract, went up, went around, got out. Nobody harassed it, right? So the Strait of Hormuz is technically still open. It's the insurance companies that have closed it.
And we had a question, Malcolm, from one of
You
the
did. Oh, I'm
viewers
sorry.
was asking about who was benefiting, and is it Russia? Yes, Russia is benefiting from this. And today we've seen Donald Trump give India an exemption from the ban on Russian oil,
Right.
to start importing Russian oil. So I would say this is more valuable for Putin than preserving or than helping the clerics in Tehran and Qom. So he'll be happy about it.
Yeah, he's making money now. I mean,
Yeah.
you had Russian crude at $37 a barrel. Now it's $87. Well, 77 for their stuff, but 87 for Brent-like crude.
And our Qatari friend, the minister, was saying in a couple of weeks it would be 150.
Osama bin Laden himself, when he wrote his original dictum against the West, complained. Now, you got to remember, he was from the 52nd son. No, actually, he wasn't the 52nd son, but he was one of 52 children of the richest family in Saudi Arabia. And his father was an advocate that the Saudi Arabia and the Gulf Arabs were being robbed by the West. And bin Laden himself said he believed oil should be at $140 per barrel. And we call that the bin Laden level. It one time almost touched $140 a barrel. But he thought that his attack on 9/11 would actually enrich the Gulf states to the point where they would come and join his campaign. But right now, $150 a barrel, let this go 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If we're up here doing day 21, things are going to get very bad. We'll see whether we still have internet at that point, right? Next, which reminds me, the reason I'm mentioning that, Microsoft, as we talked about, an Amazon computerized distribution node in the United Arab Emirates and in the Gulf was struck by drones, and it had a impact that showed up yesterday across Europe. These data centers are not just places that are localized. They are a network of linked centers around the world, and some centers handle part of the inventory support to other parts of Amazon. They said in Europe, all the prices on Amazon disappeared because the data center that was handling global pricing outside the United States. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So went down hard. They got it back up through secondary, but for a good part of yesterday, Amazon outside the United States, North America, was down because that data center, and you can be sure there's another drone coming. You can almost hear him go, great. Now, Microsoft got hit yesterday with a drone on their giant international data center. I don't know which country it was in, but it said it went down, and this doesn't operate a sales platform. It operates a militarily critical system called the Azure 5G communications infrastructure. And this is data streams that Microsoft is managing on a region-wide scale, and the Iranians hit it, and they may, if they don't get this thing up or a workaround, disrupt all 5G military communications and government communications of many of these Gulf states. So Iran is doing something amazing here. That this is why I don't believe that all these missile shots and drones just went away because we're awesome. There appears to be, we would have called it hybrid warfare or asymmetric warfare. Right now, they're waging a multi-domain war. Space, air, with ballistic missiles, air with drones, sea with the suicide bomb boats that we've seen thus far, drones against cyber support systems, drones against radar systems, telemetry-based systems, and then also using drones, against facilities, fixed hardware and infrastructure that makes the economies afraid. And by doing that, you have a large impact on the world at every domain. The only thing we haven't really seen yet that I'm waiting for is cyber. I really haven't
Yeah.
seen a massive cyber attack.
No.
I remember when the Saudis took down the Aramco oil companies, every computer they infected with a virus within one day. The Saudis, every computer in Saudi Arabia had to go back to these old manual systems, and Saudi Arabia had to buy 3 computer factories in Asia just to produce brand new computers over a month and fly them in to replace every infected computer that they had. That was an Iranian cyber attack.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that, and then be prepared for land warfare. Then they'll own all the domains. They'll have played in every military, intelligence, economic, and diplomatic domain that there is, which shows some forethought. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that's certainly a thing, and it's some of those things that we haven't seen Iran activate yet, where we know they have a capacity to inflict damage. I'm not saying that the Saudi Arabians haven't improved their cyber defense, etc., and there is
Mhm.
some improved preparation for it to really try to nullify the effect, but still we haven't seen out in the open these things activated, and
Yeah.
that could still happen. And it's a bit like with the whole issue of how many missiles and how many drones. We don't know exactly what's behind it. We know the Iranians have more capacity to do it. We know they're under pressure, but they could launch more at any given point
Yeah.
in time.
Well, even though we're on day 7, the Iranians are famous for playing long ball, not
Yes,
thinking in days, not thinking in weeks, not thinking in months, but thinking in years.
they
Definitely in
surely do.
months, because
Yep.
anything that this campaign that goes over 60 days, right? They
Yeah.
win. They win. Right now, if the regime stays in power, fundamentally, folks, they win. If
Yeah.
a ceasefire is called, brokered by the Gulf states because they may be about to economically go under, because the Gulf states project out 5 years. All right. They play long ball too on the energy market. And the thing they need more than anything is stability,
Yeah.
right? Iran wins. If the United States gets drawn into a campaign where all we do is fly circles over Iran every day for the next year and drop bombs and start killing civilians because you hit a goat, a truck full of sheep instead of a drone launcher, Iran wins.
Mm.
It is as simple as that. The metric of us winning this war should have been focused on one thing: the destruction of the nuclear material and the destruction of the ballistic missiles. The problem is the ballistic missile launcher campaign we're on was a promise, apparently, to the Israelis, number one, to the Saudis and the Gulf states, number two, and their systems. I got to be honest, the Saudis, the Qataris, even the Bahrainis, the systems that they purchased to stop ballistic missiles are working. They're not running out of interceptors for now,
Yeah.
but the other asymmetric things ain't
Yeah.
working.
And you know what? Now you're talking about the Iranian perspective,
Mhm.
weeks, months, and if need be, years.
Mhm.
You know what Trump did a little less than an hour ago?
Oh,
He
geez.
he
I
put
was
out.
preparing an hour ago, so I have no idea what stupid shit came out of his mouth. What happened?
He put out one of his so-called truth
Mm.
social posts saying he's demanding unconditional surrender.
What?
And you know what? Yes, yes, yes,
Why
yes.
didn't you
And,
start
and,
the show with that?
and you know what? You know how that is being read in Iran. You know how that is being read in Iran. They'll be thinking,
They're laughing like us.
this chicken shit is getting sick of it.
Sabu, bring me another tea and some dates. I'm laughing. Don't choke on your dates in Tehran, right?
Yeah.
This is I am going to say it again. We're now moving into the politics of this. We've moved away from diplomatic intelligence, military, and economic. We are looking at mental illness as as foreign policy. It's almost as insane as what he said yesterday, which
Yeah.
was that he wants a choice of who
He wants to pick.
becomes
He
the
wants to.
supreme leader of Iran. Jesus.
And
Or
you
as
know
they
what?
say in Iran, Ya Hussein. Ya
It's actually,
Allah.
it's actually because I watched on the Daily Show. They had the theory that it was because the title of president isn't enough for him because in the U.S. you can elect any donkey to be president, and he wants to
Clearly.
be supreme leader. So
Ayatollah.
that
He wants to be the Ayatollah. He already changed the Wikipedia page for Venezuela to list him as president of Venezuela. I shit you not. That happened. That happened a month ago, right?
oh my,
And just crazy. He really thinks he said it. I want a choice. I want to be part of the
yeah.
process. Does he think this is Miss Teen Universe? He can just walk into the dressing rooms and tell 88 mullahs, maybe 40 of whom he's killed, hey, listen, I'm directing to the imamate of Qum. I want to be part of the decision-making process that you have developed over 1,400 years. It's Rudyard Kipling all over again. As you guys know, big fan of Rudyard Kipling. I'm a member of the Kipling Society. I quote Rudyard Kipling extensively, and there's a line in one of his poems that says, "In an epitaph drear, a fool lies here who tried to hustle the East." Right?
Yeah.
It's going to be on your gravestone. This guy wanted to be the Ayatollah and failed. So now you're coming back and telling me. I cried yesterday. I did Michael Cohen's podcast, and he dropped some news on me like this. I couldn't stop laughing for 5 minutes. I'm going to stop now so that we can finish this podcast. But are you shitting me? Go read me the tweet. Go find it while I go through the last things here on the economic data.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, guys, the U.S. Development Financial Corporation, the organization Donald Trump designated to take over for the 5 largest global shipping insurance companies, to offer, yes, we're doomed. The world is doomed. That's the comment. To take over all of the insurance for any ship going into or out of the Persian Gulf to transship oil. The Financial Development Finance Corporation came back and said, we cannot do it unless we are given, ready for it, $200 billion as a backstop to pay claims. It's a quarter of the Pentagon's budget that they expect us to just suddenly go. First off, you can't even get that money. Congress has to allocate that money. Second, where would it come from? Just print it up. And then third, every tanker in the Gulf is going to blow up in the harbor, and they're going to claim that commandos did it. when in fact everybody will be at freaking Pancho Villa's in Dubai having margaritas, one of my favorite bars. So let me tell you, and they'll be like, oh, please pay us for our ship. And they'll be claiming 3 times the value plus the cargo. This is insane. All right, so that's it for the economic news. Now for jokes.
Are
Do
you
you have
ready for
something
the
you'd
truth
like to read
social?
to us?
Are you ready for the truth social?
Help me.
Trump says there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. After that, and the selection of a great and acceptable leader, we and many of our wonderful and very brave allies and partners will work tirelessly to bring Iran back from the brink of destruction, making it economically bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Iran will have a great future. Make Iran great again, Mika.
Just, I'm going to tell you a cultural thing. When black people in the United States get rip-roaringly laughing, right, where we really start laughing, if I was there next to you, we would be pushing each other and hitting each other with elbows, then fall on the floor laughing, right? That's fucking stupid. It is officially stupid. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a question. Who exactly would they surrender to? Oh, I have read this tweet. I am going to put down my rifle and I am going to wait for America, who we've been calling the Great Satan for 50 or more years. Add 10 years with the Iranian Revolution, 57 years.
Yeah.
And because Donald Trump will choose our leaders, who we will make Iran great. Miga. Hell, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know what? Donald Trump has the mental power to make these people give up their culture, religion, language. I guess he's going to declare women have to get back in those 1970 mini skirts and the Gidget hairstyle, and everybody's going to have to dress like, what's her name from that girl, Marlo Thomas, because she was Lebanese. And that you're going to have to reinstall Prince Reza Pahlavi. Yeah, because, that's the power of the Truth Social post, right? Which is the only thing I can say to that is somebody fucking call Nurse Ratched, because he really needs his meds. Okay?
Yeah.
I literally think, Billy, do you have something to say about this? I feel like Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and only me and the Chief are the only sane ones here. And the Chief, in fact, in the book was crazy. He was a murderer. But I really feel like we are in, what do they say, Cloud Cuckoo Land, right?
Yeah.
In Lego Movie, we're in Cloud Cuckoo Land. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, what's next? All right, that's it. That's enough.
Where do you go after this?
Everybody, let's go. Okay, listen, guys. A little administration for the 1,500 of us that got good laughs today. If you weren't on this podcast, you would not be getting the laughs you need to literally put up with the craziness that is going on, right? Please go up to that button up top that's gray. You'll see it there. And you press it, the one that says Black Man Spy, you press that. A box will pop up down below. You will see Jacob Kaarsbo and Black Malcolm Nance, Black Man Spy. Press those buttons to subscribe if you haven't to. And when you come on, you got to press those little hearts. Tell your friends about this podcast. It's obviously making headway. It's 10 o'clock. I actually have to go do CNN in 45 minutes. Regular CNN. Yesterday I did CNN International, where I'm giving almost this same update. And other international news organizations about what's going on, because we are not journalists. We are two spies talking on social media. And this is exactly how the ops room would be, right?
Yeah.
With that last one, we'd be on the floor pissing ourselves, spilling our coffee, crawling with laughter. And then we would gain our composure, sit back down at our terminals and go, no, really, what did he say?
Yeah, we have to focus on the job at hand, even though it's hard.
It's hard. You have now all been absolved of 24 hours. You do not have to watch the news. You don't have to follow this for the next 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, we are going to have an extended show, almost 2 hours. Jacob's going to be there for the first hour. I don't know how long you can last for the second hour, but with a Saudi analyst who lives in the United States, Wajia Lion, great guy. And we're going to talk about in depth the Gulf states culture and how bad this could get. And then Jacob is going to be doing tomorrow is our Kurdish special. And what Jacob's going to be providing is going to, we didn't go on Kurdistan. I say we hold it for tomorrow. There's so much going on.
Exactly.
I have half a page just on the Kurds. So tomorrow morning, we're going to do the Kurds special. I'm going to try to bring maps in, and then we're going to identify all the groups on there so that you can know who's who, right? So that is going to be important because apparently my Substack article called 1001 Arabian Nightmares, scenario number 3, the United States arms the Kurds and tries to invoke an internal war, is coming together. It's already happening. We have special operations aircraft moving from England that are only designed to penetrate hostile airspace. Clarissa Ward from CNN found in Erbil, someone bought every Toyota Land Cruiser in the city. 50.
Really?
Yesterday, one purchaser. Sound familiar? I did that in Baghdad. I bought every BMW 750i, 630i, and Mercedes E-Class in the city on one day for $1 million. Cash. But there's a reason when people buy Hiluxes and Land Cruiser pickup trucks, right? They are creating an insurgent army. And in 1985, full disclosure, it's in my memoir, it's been cleared now, I can tell you, I was involved deeply in the original Toyota war in Chad. So
the original Toyota war.
The original Toyota war. Hey, baby. I know all about the attack on Wadi Dum. So go look that up. That's old school. The original Toyota war. I was 20. How old was I? 24 years old and helped start the Toyota wars, or at least intelligence reported on it. So I was neck deep in Chad. So now it's apparently happening up there because the Toyota pickup is the pickup of insurgency. And if they really wanted to buy some, they should go to the Taliban right now and offer to buy all the Ford Rangers and that they have in that country.
Coming from the other side.
Yeah, coming from the other side. All right. Well, thank you for attending this day's episode of Black Man Spy, Chalet of the Two Spies. That's what I'm still calling this. We got to come up with a better name. Warcast Day 7. We will see you tomorrow. Get your questions together. Watch my podcast. We will have the special subscriber only, paid subscriber only specials on drones and Lebanon are going to be coming up. Tomorrow on the Kurd is going to be open for everybody. All right? All right, guys. Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow.